Hey everybody, hope all is well and welcome back to the ShabinLife. I had uploaded a video the other day, it's about 10 minutes long, just an update and the transom window install, really just to see if I could sort of film, edit it, and upload a video from here at the Shabin, and it worked, which is nice. It took a little over 4 hours, but at least it worked, which is really nice to know that I can do it while I'm up here. I know a week or so ago I uploaded a video with the gas line system walkthrough and mentioned that I would do the mechanical systems as walkthrough videos. So we're up here at the house and it's a beautiful day out. It's about 30 degrees and the sun's shining, so I'll take that. Certainly it's better than some of the temperatures the last few days. But we're up here at the house and I'm gonna walk you guys through the drain, waste, and vent system the best that I can. We'll do a little bit upstairs and then I'll try and go into the crawl space each time to show you sort of what it looks like upstairs and then what that's, what that component looks like downstairs. So come on into the house and we'll take a look through the DWV system. I'm gonna start behind me here in the bathroom. That's basically the end of the line, or the start of the line, in regards to the drain system. So I'm gonna take you into the bathroom. I probably won't be able to put the camera on me, but I'm gonna walk you through the entire system, so I'll do my best. So come on, let's check it out. I started with the Hardy Backer, and with some thin set. I'll try and drop a little video in if I have it. Very straightforward. It's just it's an 8 foot deep, or a little over 8 foot deep by 5 foot wide bathroom. It'll have a shower in the back end, toilet and vanity. But the Hardy Backer went down first, thin set. I screwed about maybe 12 screws or so in each board, and then the rest I put roofing nails in, which I believe you're allowed to do. Again, you pretty much can do whatever you want. That's not going anywhere by any stretch, but at least I'm ready for tile. The rest of the bathroom will get Hardy Backer halfway up. The shower will get it all the way around. Then there'll be a little bit of sheetrock. So it'll just be like your typical bathroom from back in the day where it's half tile, half painted. And then the floor will be all tile, all that good stuff. So Hardy board went down first, and then I started to basically cut all of my holes. I kind of planned this really well, so I was confident when I was making all of my holes for both the drains, the vents, supplies, all that good stuff, that I was in the right spot. So I started with the shower. Now, your shower is a 2-inch drain. On top right there is the drain for the actual shower pan. It's a 2-inch compression drain fitting, and it's not on, so that you guys aren't confused. I just have it there so I don't lose it. But basically, this pipe is going to get cut flush with the floor once the pan gets set and we find out exactly where everything goes. Right now, it's just stubbed up and ready for me to take the next step to put the pan in. I used a 4 1/4 inch hole saw that I believe is going to be big enough that when this goes into the shower pan, we'll have plenty of extra room for it to sit down in the hole. There'll be some thin set underneath the shower pan too that will lift it up probably just a little bit, but I'll show you guys putting that in. But this is the 2-inch shower drain. I'm going to try and do the drains first and then come back and do the vents so that you understand them. But this is the 2-inch drain for the shower. And I'll tell you what, why don't we go into the crawl space so that you can see this 2-inch shower drain as it looks in the crawl space and how it connects into the main drain. I went 18 inches off my wall, 12 inches back. That was my measurements based on my shower pan drain installation. So let's take a walk into the crawl space and I'll show you what the shower drain looks like under there. Okay, so now we're in the crawl space. You can see on the far side the crawl space steps coming down. So essentially, we're at the, which end of the house we're at. This right here is the shower drain. I'll take you a little closer. I have a light down here so that you guys can see. Hopefully it doesn't get too dark. But there's the shower drain coming in. There's the 2-inch trap. The trap comes over to a sanitary tee. That's the vent going up. And then the sanitary tee comes down into a long, I think this is a combo Y with like a long sweep. And then there'll be a clean out plug in the end right here. And that's it for the shower drain. You'll notice that the shower drain comes down, and instead of coming straight forward and the vent going up, I came across this way. You can see a little bit of the angle. I want it to come over one floor bay, and I'll show you upstairs when we look at the vent. If I would have brought this line straight forward and up, I would have had an issue with the 2-inch vent pipe where the diverter is for the shower. So I decided to bring it over and come up the next bay, and it worked out really well. You'll see upstairs that this vent goes up and ties perfectly through the stud into the 3-inch vent stack for the toilet. But again, so there's the shower, very straightforward. While we're down here, and I'll come back down again to explain the toilet, I used the toilet configuration to figure out exactly where my main drain was gonna sit. Basically, the 3-inch pipe that you're using for your toilet and your closet fitting, it's sort of gonna dictate how much where this actually sits. And then I came back and started doing my other pieces so that I knew essentially at what level I was going to be able to start with this 3-inch pipe. So let's cruise back upstairs real quick. We'll take a look at the toilet flange, and we'll take a look at the bathroom vanity, and then we'll jump back down here again real fast to take a look at the drain. Okay, so now we're back upstairs and we're in the bathroom again, and we are looking at the toilet flange. That is a 4-inch toilet flange. They make all different kinds. What I like about this is that the outer ring is adjustable. And that's important, that if this wasn't adjustable, which you can use as well, an all plastic piece, you basically need to make sure that your flange bolts are set up perfectly when you glue this to your to the closet fitting, the closet elbow underneath. You have to make sure it's glued perfect, that these flanges are sitting. Otherwise, when you glue it, if they're twisted this way, your bolts aren't going to match up for where your toilet goes. Odie now makes these that if I were to take out this screw right here and this screw, I can spin that silver top in order to make sure that my bolts align for my toilet. And so that's a sort of a little added bonus. The other thing is that this is a test plug that's already molded into the top of the fitting, so that after, after you test your system, you basically use a hammer to knock that out, which I'm not super keen about, so we'll see how that works once I actually get to it. But, again, there's all types of codes and standards, measurements, and stuff like that for all of these types of plumbing appliances. The toilet, I believe, is 12 inches off your finished wall. You can go a little shorter and a little deeper depending on which toilet you go with. But again, the 12-inch, I believe, is the standard. You just make sure if you're measuring off an unfinished wall, you add for the finished. And then your water supply line, just so you know, and I'll come back to this when I do the PEX, is I believe it's 6 inches over from center from your toilet flange, and it's 7 inches up the wall. Again, these are just easy things that you can find out online. Certainly if you have a plumbing book, it'll probably explain a lot of that stuff in an updated plumbing book. But again, that's the toilet flange. I used a 4 1/4 inch hole saw because that was as big as I had to make the hole in the cement board. And then I just used a grinding wheel to basically make the hole a little bit bigger. I wanted this flange to really sit nicely in that hole when I put it down, mostly because I didn't want it to move, but I just wanted a nice snug fit. Also, I wanted a snug fit for this hole because the way that this works is the closet elbow underneath actually pushes up into this fitting from underneath. So when I was gluing them, there was nobody up here to essentially hold this fitting. Fortunately, I can screw it down. Some of the other ones you may not be able to do that with right away. But for me, it was able to be nice and snug in that hole so that when I pushed up from the bottom and was gluing that fitting, this flange didn't go anywhere. But let's take a walk downstairs again into the crawl space, and I will show you the drain for the toilet on the crawl space side. So that's my toilet flange up there. And then this closet fitting slides up into, I think I actually cut a piece. You can do it as a street fitting or a bell style fitting. That's basically when the coupling's built on. Street fitting is that this piece would slide into it without having couplings on each end. You can kind of look that up online. But there's where my closet fitting comes down, and then this goes from 4 inch to 3 inch. It's the only time that you're allowed to do that in plumbing, and they make it specifically for the toilet. And it's basically a short sweep 90. And again, this is what I set up. All of this, my T, my combo Y, and then what I did was, after I dry fit these and figured out where this was gonna lay, that dictated whether or not I was going to be able to bring this pipe underneath the floor joist and how deep I was going to need to drop the vanity. So this is really where I started in order to get my height, and then I knew basically what my grade was going to be, my pitch for the whole pipe. So I start, again, not to beat a dead horse, but this is where I started. I dry fit basically all the way down to this fitting, and then I measured, you know, from here to the ground and then from there up to the floor joist to get a general idea, and that's basically told me, okay, this is where I need to be. I added a little bit of an extra piece here just to give me a little love down here. That way if I needed a little extra room for some of these other drains, I had it low enough, you know, that I could drop these fittings in. But trying to do my best to show you guys what's going on. I know it's not the best camera footage. Little tidbits. I mean, the glue I used was, you know, primer and heavy duty. For those of you who don't typically buy PVC glue, that's the purple and the black. You know, but I'm pretty sure if you just look at the can, you'll be able to see like what the temperature goes down to and all that good stuff. And depending on the size Schedule 40 you're using, it might dictate what type of glue that you have to use. I think once you get over 3-inch, or if you get up to 6-inch, it changes. But again, there is the toilet setup. Very straightforward. And again, just like the shower, it's a wet vent. That basically means it's using the same sanitary tee going down as it is having the vent come up. So very straightforward, really easy to do. I mean, this whole drain waste and vent system was very straightforward. I laid it out so that it wasn't difficult. I sort of laid out the bathrooms and the laundries and the sinks and all that stuff, knowing that I wanted to make the plumbing a little bit more straightforward for myself. But if you've never worked with PVC, I mean, a great rule of thumb is, you know, when you're dry fitting, you know, you can make marks so that when you take it all apart, you basically know where to put everything back to so that it lines up really well. You can look at YouTube and all the other stuff online to find out a million different videos on how to plumb a house, how to run a drain waste and vent system. I just wanted you guys to see, you know, how essentially we set ours up. And again, I'm going to come down here and show you, but a nice straight run, you know, all the way down. It has a little over a 1/4-inch drop every foot. Good. So if you really think about it, that's 2.5-inch drop over a 10-foot stick of pipe. All right, so back up in the bathroom, this is now the vanity sink drain. So I believe that it needs to be 1.5 inches. I went ahead and made the sanitary tee fitting, the actual drain fitting. So it's a 2-inch on the bottom, 2-inch on the top, and a 1.5-inch coming out. The reason why I didn't put any type of 1.5-inch pipe or trap adapter is because I'm not quite sure whether I want to just do an oil plug. You know, I'm not quite sure how I want to set the PVC up yet to have the system tested. That'll probably be something I want to run by the inspector, you know, before I continue to kind of build these, you know, these trap drains out. But again, very straightforward. So the sink, you know, you can look online to see the heights of the water lines and the drain lines. Off the top of my head, I forget, but you know, even though there's some code, it's very flexible because obviously there's things that have changed massively over the last 25 years in regards to deeper farmhouse sinks and, you know, deeper, you know, bathroom vanities or tubs or whatever it may be. So where a, you know, a drain, you know, might have sat at 18 inches before, you know, now it's sitting, you know, at like 15 or 16 inches to allow a little bit more room for a deeper sink. So again, you know, you just want to check all your codes, you know, or talk to the inspector, you know, where you're building at. But this is basically, again, the drain's going to come out from here into a trap underneath the vanity. And since we're in here, let's go ahead and just start the vent system. So all of these, the shower pan, the shower drain, the toilet, and the bathroom vanity can all connect to the same vent because they're so closely related. I believe it needs to be within 10 foot. Again, double check your code. So what we have here, and if you remember when we were in the crawl space, I told you that the shower drain, had it gone straight ahead and the vent came right up, I would have had an issue with the diverter valve for the shower. So in the crawl space, what you saw was when I dropped this pipe down, I kind of went on an angle before I came down with my sanitary tee into my Y, into my main drain. So here's the vent coming up from my shower. And the reason why this was all so important is these aren't small holes. You know, these are big holes you have to drill in order to get 2.5-inch pipe through, almost a 3-inch hole, or a 2-inch pipe, almost a 2.5-inch hole. So you just got to be really careful where you are, where your floor joists are running so that you've got room to do a lot of this stuff. You just really want to make sure you plan it well before you start drilling holes and all that good stuff. But this is the vent now for the shower. The vent comes up, and just like the vanity vent, same thing, 2-inch, which it doesn't need to be, but it was easier for me to just keep two 2-inch lines because it was very difficult to find a mismatch of this sanitary, this type of sanitary four-way. So notice how the sanitary four-way is upside down because we're venting now. So this is to allow air to get drawn into the system so that, you know, nothing gets clogged and everything runs really well. That's our 3-inch vent coming up from our toilet. And then that's the 3-inch vent that's basically going to go up. Right now I have it out the top and 90'd, and it just comes out by on there, and then it's going to go right up through the roof, and it's going to tie in with a vent in the laundry room. But essentially, the vent for the vanity comes up, they both tie in. There's a 1/4 inch per foot pitch going upwards on both of these, and then into the 3-inch pipe and straight up. And now you can see why 2x6 was important, because, you know, in order to get this through, I had to drill like a 4 1/4 inch hole. You would never be able to obviously do that in a 2x4. So you'd have to cut the top plate, which is probably not allowed. You'll notice I went back on a handful of these and started installing nailer plates. I still need a few. So if you see me point to something and it doesn't have it, it's just because I ran out. Let's go ahead into the laundry room. I'll walk over there so that you can see kind of how it flows. So if you come out of the bathroom, again, this is that 2x6 wall right here. Now we'll come into the laundry room. And again, I'm going to try and do my best here because the video camera's not awesome. So I'm going to have a laundry sink in the corner. Then next to that is going to be a washer. And then next to that is a dryer. The reason why I put the gas line a little farther over was because in case I decide to move all this stuff to our accessory building, I wanted all the stuff that's going to be exposed down to the left so that I had as much open room as I could down here on the right. I apologize too, the generator's running because the light's on in the crawl space, so you might not be able to hear me very well. But here is the vanity, or I should say the laundry utility sink. It's a 2-inch drain, and I'm pretty sure that's fairly standard. Again, it's a wet vent, so it's using the same drain line as it is for the vent line. This is your washer machine outlet box. You can do this a multitude of ways. This was an Odie box that I just liked because it came with the 2 PEX shut-off valves. Be careful when you go to mount this because there are instructions that come with it, and there are instructions online, and they state 2 totally different measurement heights. One of them actually says 36 inches, which it almost sounds right until you start thinking about a washer. A washer definitely stands 36 inches. So if you look at some of their other instructions, it says to mount at 46 to 48 inches or above the flood level of your washing machine. Just be careful. Just double check. I made a mistake and I wasn't even paying attention, and fortunately I wasn't far along that I could put in a beginner's coupling. my greenhorn coupling. It almost makes me shed a little tear that I actually had to use a coupling. First time in years. But again, this is your washing machine outlet box. So what's going to happen is your washing machine is going to go into the drain line. This is just a test plug that inserts so that you can test the system. That is a 2-inch drain. Comes down to your 2-inch trap. That trap needs to be, I believe, to the minimum is 6 inches, maximum is 18. Just go 12. What it does is it leaves you a fairly good spot here to still mount your utility sink low. Because you remember, a utility sink is going to sit like almost 18, 20 inches deep compared to a 9-inch bathroom sink. So that drain, you need to make sure that drain is low, or else it's going to sit too high for when the utility sink comes in for your trap. But this is very straightforward. You see this in a lot of houses with the washer outlet box and then the trap coming over through the wall and then into the utility sink. I, again, left the 2-inch pipe stubbed out because I just need to make sure with the inspector that if I run this 2-inch vent pipe over and I bring the 3-inch one that's over here up, I can tie them in, that it's close enough that he's okay with them. I upped the 2-inch vent size on the bathroom sink, hoping that because I went with it from a 1.5 to a 2-inch, he might be okay with me. Again, I still think we're within 10 feet, but he might be okay with me because I gave a little bit of extra to allow that air to flow. But let's take a walk real quick down into the crawl space so that I can point out what this looks like coming in and going into the main drain. Again, these fittings are really important. If you were to use a Y rather than this combo, you would need to use a Y with a 45. You can't have a sanitary T because it doesn't allow enough air to flow when it's actually letting the water out. But as we work our way down our 3-inch, let me see if I can shine the light a little bit better. This now is our laundry drain. So our laundry drain that you saw upstairs comes down through the floor, 45s, and then goes into, again, a 2-inch by 3-inch combo Y with a long sweep. And that's it. Nice and easy for the laundry. Don't mind my 35 marks. So I'm gonna run back upstairs again because the last thing to really point out to you guys is the kitchen sink. I'll show you that and then we'll jump back down to show you the kitchen sink where it ties in as well as the rest of the line going down. So hang tight. All right, we're back upstairs. The bathroom and the laundry. And then if you come right around, this is gonna be our kitchen. The kitchen's very easy. I mean, we're not living with a lot of super crazy awesome amenities, you know, dishwashers, things like that. We haven't had a microwave in 15, 20 years. You know, we're trying to scale it back actually. It's the whole reason of doing this. But so for the kitchen for us, it was really just the kitchen sink. And again, I haven't put any type of trap adapters specifically because of testing purposes. So we'll sort of figure that out as we go forward. That's an 1.5 inch drain line into, again, 1.5 inch, 2-inch, 2-inch sanitary T. The sanitary T can be used when it's on a vertical, it can't be used when it's on a horizontal like it is like downstairs in the main drain. Again, another wet vent. That is when you use the sanitary T for your drain and for your vent. The kitchen sink is too far away from everything else in the house to be tied into the same vent. So as much as I want it to have, you know, 1 or 2 penetrations through the roof, is definitely going to be 2 as long as I can tie the laundry vent into the bathroom vent. But the kitchen vent is going to go straight up. It's a 2-inch vent. It goes right through the top plate. And then right now I just have it stubbed out right before the roof. And that's probably where I'll wind up taking it out because there's still a 2.5 foot overhang from there. Worst case scenario, I'll 45 back inside the truss to take it up, you know, up the roof a little bit before it pokes out. So let's take a walk back down in the crawl space one last time, and I'll show you guys the rest of the kitchen sink drain as well as the main drain out of the house. Okay, so if you can see down the end, that is the very end is the shower, then the toilet, then the bathroom vanity, then the laundry sink or utility sink. And now here we are coming down again. And if you can use the LVL, it'll give you an idea of my pitch. So if you can kind of use the LVL, you can see how much the pipe is slowly dropping. And again, that's about 1/4 inch, a little more per foot drop over the course of the whole system. So here we are. This is the kitchen sink. The kitchen sink ties into the main drain, very similar to how the laundry sink does. There's a 45, it comes down to that combo Y with the long sweep and then into the main drain. In regards to underneath the house, there's the drain for the kitchen sink. It comes up, and if you can see, it comes up, and then there's a long turn 90, and that's important to have a long term 90. If you can do 245s, go for it, or a long turn, not a standard 90. But that's it. Everything's pretty much strapped as it needs to be. And then there it is back into the main drain. Now, that's the last of the actual drains as far as components of the house. So if you follow now the main 3-inch line, see if I can get the light over here. The main 3-inch line, it comes to a 45, and then the 45 really slants down. And this was a little bit of this was probably the toughest connection just to get perfect. It comes down, let's see if I can. And then there it is. There's a 3-inch Street 45. The street is the part on this end because it has no bell end as a coupling. So the Street 45 goes into what would be considered a reducer. In our case, we're enlarging it. But it goes from the 3-inch to a 4-inch Schedule 40. And then there's our 4-inch line going out that will potentially go to the septic system. If you haven't seen this installed, I'll drop a link to the video right here, and you can go back and watch how we installed this Schedule 40 4-inch piece through the foundation wall and stubbed out to the clean out outside, as well as the 20-foot piece that is just stubbed out past the clean out, getting ready for when we do the septic in early spring. As soon as they can basically dig the ground, we'll get the septic put in. But that's basically the whole main drain right there. Not much to it. I think there's a lot more thought that goes into these systems, you know, than actual time. And that's a good thing. You know, you certainly want to make sure that everything works out well for yourself when you do these. None of these systems have been tested, so certainly that'll be the real show of whether everything's okay. I have a lot of faith in the stuff I do. I take a lot of pride in what I do, so I certainly hope that everything's okay. I don't expect everything to always be perfect and to have to go back and fix a few things, you know, but, you know, try for perfection. And, you know, that way in the end, maybe you only have 1 or 2 things to fix. So when this gets tested, I'll try and show you guys. We'll see how well I made out with all these connections. But for the most part, that's pretty much the whole drain and waste and vent system right there. You know, and if you're not familiar with a lot of the drain, waste, and vent, you can always Google it. You can always YouTube it. There's plenty of channels out there that will be happy to explain to you how to run these pipes, how to glue them together, you know, tips and tricks for, you know, plumbing a house. Again, I tried to make it so that, hopefully you guys can see me, I tried to make it so that it was really easy, that I didn't have to worry about too many things being real finicky or the pipes having to run to a really weird spot. It doesn't always work like that, but I did build a fairly cookie cutter box house. But that was part of the reason why I did that. But it worked out really well. Again, we'll see when everything gets tested, but for the most part, I was happy with how everything turned out, where it laid, how it fell through the floor, where it ran through the studs. But I have a feeling that has a lot to do with the fact that I planned this really well. I drew the whole system out a couple times on paper, you know, just to make sure that it would work out. And it did. It really did. And I didn't have a ton of extra parts left over. I tried to buy as little as I could possible. Certainly just buy a ton of whatever it is you think you might need. Just take back what you don't use. But I'll take you back upstairs. We'll take one quick walkthrough again, and that'll be pretty much it for the drain, waste, and vent. And then next time I'll come back to show you the PEX lines. Everything for the PEX lines is run and stubbed out for where the appliance is going to go. The only thing that's left to do is to tie all the ends in and land them on the manifold, which I said in a video the other day that I'll probably do that in a separate video so that you guys can sort of see our whole water distribution system. You know, for those of you that haven't done plans for your house, typically your plumbing supply lines in your drain, waste, and vent is called an isometric drawing, and it basically just is line drawing on your prints to show how everything's going to be running, where there's going to be clean outs, where it's going to poke out of the house, all that good stuff. But like I said, I'm real happy with how ours turned out, what it looks like. You know, as long as it works is the most important thing. But that's basically the whole bathroom. Again, just to run through, you got the shower, the toilet, the sink. Those are the drains. And then here are your vents into your main 3-inch stack. And then that stack 90s right there. And then it's going to turn and it's going to go right up and out the roof. This is the laundry. That will come up. It will come across, it will tie in, and then that will go up as well. And then, like I said, this is the backside of the washer. Really not much to it. You know, it really just depends on where you're putting stuff. Once you figure out where things are going to go in your house, you just start laying out your supply lines and your drain lines. And then there's the kitchen again. All right, so that's pretty much it for the drain, waste, and vent system. I hope it was a little bit helpful. There'll be some small changes that I'll have to make, you know, in regards to the venting and stuff as we move forward. And I'll have to take those vents through the roof and through the metal roof once that's on. I'll bring you along for that as well. But that's it. That's it really. I mean, nothing super crazy. When we hook up appliances, I'll show you how everything ties into what's here already. But if this is something that you have to do, hopefully this helps a little bit. Again, there's a million videos online that will help answer questions in regards to different types of fittings and what do they do and all that good stuff. But yeah, hopefully this helps you out a little bit. And like I said, if you have any questions, let me know. And we'll come back next time with the PEX supply lines. I know that you saw a little bit of that in this video, and I'll just explain what I did and how I ran it in the PEX video. And if you've got any questions on that, you can let me know. But as always, thanks for stopping by, and we will catch you guys on the next video. Have a great day. So this is pretty much where I spend my days. It's like a 4-foot jail. And when the house rat flaps upstairs, it's like the Blair Witch Project. So yeah, I mean, it's all sunshine. Sunshine and rainbows, baby. And there's light! Let there be light! No, back to the darkness. Just about to finish up these little bit of crawl space lights, and all the detailed electrical work will be done.